So Jeff, in really simple terms, how could you describe a cyclone? What is a cyclone?
Yeah, well, they're very difficult to develop, tropical cyclone. Everything's got to be in perfect place. For instance, they're a vertically stacked system. That means they go right up through the atmosphere we live in, up to about 14 kilometres. And if they have too much tilt, they won't develop, because you need to get the thunderstorms to develop right near the centre, and that heats the whole system without getting into the physics of it, latent heat of evaporation.
Yeah, keep it simple.
But the heating is provided by the thunderstorms, which has to be over the centre. So that's why there's not so many tropical cyclones, not many develop, because everything around them's got to be in sync with their development to keep them quite vertical.
Yeah.
Except they've got to have a little bit of a tilt, so that complicates.
Yeah. And in an Australian context, I've noticed that most of them form off the coast and then approach the coast, but then they kind of seem to disappear or dissipate. What's the pattern behind that?
Yeah, especially in Queensland, they'll develop out to the east, move towards Australia, then recurve. That tends to happen during El Nino years, because the upper troughs that cause that to happen come further up into Queensland. In La Nina years, the upper troughs are either in central Australia and they're not as strong, so the cyclones are able to come right over into Australia. Yeah. And that's the difference between El Nino and La Nina, and that's why we get a lot more rain during La Nina. The cyclones and tropical weather systems come all the way to the east coast and end, like Yasi, right into central Australia.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
But then when they move overland, they lose their moisture, or how come they just disappear?
Yeah, they do. But it's a little bit tricky in that. Sometimes they intensify overland, and which is really weird. It happens nowhere else in the world, and we've been studying that. We've, in collaboration with some other people, we've done a few papers on that. Mm-hmm. And it seems the desert, they can intensify over the desert when the desert sand has got a lot of moisture, but that's unusual. Yep. But you can, if you have access to satellite photos, you can see these systems in the Tanami Desert and around Alice Springs that just look like tropical cyclones.
Yeah, wow.
And that one, we mentioned the floods in February, March 2010, that was virtually a tropical cyclone over Birdsville. It was amazing, you know, gale force winds, just looked like a tropical cyclone on satellite photos, and right out there in Birdsville. So some weird things happen, and a lot of things we don't fully understand yet.